Evening, folks. Well, this time Thursday, I was really looking forward to this weekend's worth of boxing. 3 big shows, all stacked looking cards, and I must say, and I know I'm not alone, I have been pretty disappointed, as I'm sure a lot of people out there are, with the quality of what we represented. Starting off on Friday, Teofimo Lopez got a unanimous decision over Arnold, easy for me to say, defended his WBO light welterweight title. That was a good fight, entertaining enough. Teofimo Lopez showed wonderful skills in there. You know, it wasn't really a competitive fight. Barboza was pretty one-dimensional. But no, that was one of the few highlights of this weekend, was watching Teofimo Lopez. Now, I don't particularly like Lopez as a person. I think he's a bit of a scumbag. Him and his dad are a pair of scumbags. However, you couldn't deny the vast difference in skills. Absolutely fantastic. But also on that card, Devin Haney went to a dreary 12-round unanimous decision victory over Jose Ramirez, and that fucking fight put me to sleep. It really did. It literally put me to sleep. I just could not keep my eyes open on it. What is this? What is going on? It just shows to me Devin Haney is gun shy now after the beating he took in the Ryan Garcia fight over a year ago. He just didn't look right, like mentally right. You know, he won. It was just fucking diabolical. These guys are getting paid a ton of money, and then just to go in front of there, and they've broken the record, CompuBox record for least amount of punches thrown or landed in a fucking 12-round fight. That's fucking dreadful. That is awful. Didn't enjoy that at all. But the big news, probably a contender for upset of the year, Rolly Romero, dear little Rolly Romero, who I didn't give a snowball's chance in hell against Ryan Garcia, who had his first fight back since testing positive for PEDs last year. He beat him over 12 rounds to pick up the vacant WBA regular welterweight title. Obviously, Boots Ennis is the real WBA welterweight champion. Let's not fuck about and talk bullshit here. So, you know, the WBA apparently have gone back on their word, because do you remember a couple of years ago they were going to consolidate all their belts because it was too confusing? Well, apparently they're now having secondary champions and super champions and bullshit again. So Rolando Romero, the former WBA light welterweight champion, is now a 2-weight world champion. I say world in inverted commas. And yeah, he deserved the victory. I was very surprised. Ryan Garcia, apparently without the peds, doesn't look too good. He did not look right in there at all. He wasn't himself. He was dropped in the second round with a left hook, and he didn't really recover. So yeah, Rolando Romero, that'll be upset of the year for me. I would say very few people that I've spoken to or interacted with online gave Rolando Romero a fucking hope in hell of winning that one. But even so, it wasn't. It was just a piss poor performance overall from Ryan Garcia, in my opinion. Take nothing away from Rolando Romero. He got the win. But yeah, that was I don't know what the fuck's going on there. And obviously, so I thought, well, that was a pretty disappointing card. Very uninspired. This is just me talking. It's just my opinion. Oh, we got the Riyadh card today. This was yesterday. Or last night. I thought, brilliant. Should be quite good. F.A. Ajagba went to a draw with Martin Bakole in the heavyweight title fight. I actually had this fight 96-94 to Ajagba. I thought he just nicked it. It was ruled a majority draw. The other two judges had it 95-95. A draw. I just thought Bakole, he's supposed to be the big bogeyman of the division. Again, okay, he came in at short notice a couple of months ago when he was stopped by Parker in 2. He was brought in literally 24 hours notice. He was out of shape. He was overweight. He still looked out of shape and overweight to me. I think he's been kind of flattered by the Jared Anderson performance from last year. And he's not looked that inspiring since. I know, obviously, you can write off the Parker one purely because, obviously, it was a last-minute deal. He wasn't, and he got caught on top of the head with an awkward shot. So it is what it is. You can write that one off. But yeah, he didn't look, in my opinion, he didn't look particularly good here. Jagba, this fight didn't live up to the excitement I was expecting, to be perfectly honest. I was expecting more out of this particular fight. It was decent enough, it was entertaining enough, but it was not as good as I thought it was going to be. But hey, not every fight's going to be Hagler Hearns, you know. We were spoilt last weekend with Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. Fucking brilliant fight, probably be fight of the year. And we've gone from that to the dreary, fucking drizzling shits we've been putting up with the past couple of nights. So I thought Jagba was a little bit unlucky to get that one, but to be honest, you know, he was fighting on the back foot. Like, he was very effective on backwards and fighting off the ropes, but yeah, I don't know, man. We'll have to see about that one. Maybe they could do it again. Jaime Munguia got his revenge over Bruno Saras. Obviously, there was the upset of the year last year, end of the last year. I was very impressed with Munguia. He's made a lot of changes. He's not as reckless. His defence is better. Doesn't leave himself quite so open, and he cruised to a unanimous decision victory. Fucking brilliant. I was really impressed with Jaime Munguia, so he can move on with his career. I won't lie, I fell asleep during the Badou Jack fight. I didn't score it at all. I just woke up and see that he'd won a majority decision, retained his WBC Cruiserweight title. I will have to go back and watch it again and score it again. I saw the first couple of rounds, fell asleep, because I mean it was fucking 3 o'clock in the morning here, and I'd been up the night before, and I'd been out on a works do, so I was fucked. I was tired. And a lot of people saying that he was robbed or it was bullshit. So it's funny looking at Badou Jack. He's about 6 months younger than me, so he's in my age bracket. And to see him winning world titles, it does me good. It makes me feel a bit better about people at my age, because this guy's a world champion. However, I would say, from what I saw of the fight, he needs to stay the fuck away from Jai Opetaia and stay away from Zurdo Ramirez. You know, because I think they fucking have him. But yeah, so that was a bit uninspiring. And the main event, Canelo Alvarez is now once again the undisputed super middleweight champion. He picked up the IBF title that was taken off him last year from William Scull, the Cuban. And this was just fucking diabolical. Again, it was like the Haney fight. It was just dreadful. You know, I gave every round to Canelo because he was the only one pushing. And you know, it takes two to tango. It takes two to, you know, styles makes fights and all this stuff. But I don't know. He wasn't even fucking trying to go for the finish. He wasn't trying to do a lot. He wasn't trying to put a lot of pressure on. He was landing good single shots, targeting the body. Skull just was running. You know, there's being defensive and having good footwork, but when you're not throwing anything back, it's fucking running. And he was smiling and laughing and fucking about all the way through it, while doing nothing, next to nothing, throwing out single jabs here and there. And Canelo Alvarez just, I don't know what it is with him. Okay, he's made his money, he's cemented his legacy. I'm not having a go at the guy. He's been a professional for nearly 20 years. He's been in some wars over the years with, you know, obviously the Golovkin fights and things like that. You know, he's proved his worth. He's proved his mettle. I'm not necessarily I'm not a fanboy of Canelo, but I'm not against Canelo. You know, I'm not a hater, because he gets a lot of scorn. I saw a video from Paulie Malignaggi, Paulie TV. Check that out if you haven't seen it. I'd recommend it. I don't always agree with everything Paulie says, but he was talking about Canelo Alvarez this morning. I agreed pretty much most of what he said, everything he said, because he's just stealing paychecks now. You know, and I don't begrudge any fighters getting paid the money. They put their health and their lives on the line for our entertainment. But that was not entertaining last night. His last couple of fights have not been entertaining. The Munguia fight last May, Canelo's fight with Munguia wasn't too bad. Had its moments, but other than that, past few years, since he lost to Bivol, he's not, in my opinion, not been particularly entertaining. And William Scull, well, this was the third fight of his I've seen, and he didn't impress me before. I found him quite boring. And I found him particularly boring in this fight, and I would not want to see him again, to be honest. It's Lawrence Okoli, just without the hugging. You couldn't pay me to watch a Lawrence Okoli fight now, and I would never watch a William Scull fight. It was awful, and the way he celebrated after it, he lasted the full 15, bloody hell, going back, the full 12 rounds. He was celebrating like he won the fucking lottery, he won the jackpot, and I thought, You've done nothing in there. Like I say, I gave him everything. One of the judges had it 119, 109. Now the other two baffled me. This is just I can't see it. One judge had it 116, 112, and one had it 115, 113. No way. Absolutely no way. Those last two scores reflected what I saw anyway. I'll have to watch it back, I suppose, if I can be fucking bothered. If I can't sleep tonight, I'll put that on. Let's put it that way. But yeah, pretty dreadful, dreary affair. It was just really done to get that belt back onto Canelo, so he's got all four. And yeah, and now they're pushing Canelo against Crawford, which they were pushing a couple of years ago. I wasn't particularly interested then. I'm mildly piqued. My interest is mildly piqued now, but we'll have to see. So yeah, it's been pretty dreary, bit of a letdown this weekend so far. We've got one more show to go. I think here in the UK it starts at the early hours of Monday morning. And obviously my friends in North America, it'll be late, sort of Sunday evening, Sunday night. So yeah, it's the Naoya Inoue fight. I'm expecting him to blow Cardenas away, but we'll have to see. It might be entertaining. I'm fingers crossed that there'll be some entertainment on this card, because geez, it was like fucking pulling teeth. I love boxing. This is why I do this. This is why I talk to people on here. This is why I go on Instagram and talk about boxing history and things. And it's like, it shouldn't be a chore to sit through these cards that on paper look stacked. And it's been a fucking chore the past 2 days. I've been out of my fucking mind, bored. Shouldn't be bored watching the sport that you love. But so fingers crossed that the Inoue fight is more entertaining. But yeah, so what did you think? Yeah, I don't know. Fingers crossed, But yeah, not an exciting. Bit of a letdown. Let's put it this way: we've come from the high of last week with Eubank Ben, and now the lows of this, just boring. Nobody wants to engage. Nobody wants to throw a fucking punch. Man, oh man. Anyway, you take care, folks, and I'll speak to you soon.